from the Ticats Audio Network. This is Speaking with the Enemy.
All right, it's a big one. The Ticats, the Argonauts, the Eastern Final, a spot in the Grey Cup on the line, and to discuss it, we're going to be speaking with the enemy. And normally I say he's not my enemy, he's my friend, but today he is my enemy. Natey Adjei, a radio analyst for the Argos on TSN 1050. Natey, it's great to see you. First of all, congratulations on the expanded role at TSN 1050. You're doing some Raptors stuff now too. That's awesome, brother. Congrats.
I appreciate it, Louie. I appreciate it. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I got to live one dream playing pro football now. This is my second part of my dream, watching and covering pro sports that I love. So I'm excited. I'm extremely blessed and excited to keep rolling.
All right,
get like you, man.
That's it. That was the last nice thing I'm going to say to you today in this interview. The Argos, they are a confident bunch, and they should be. They won the East Division, but they've had a lot of time off. How do you feel like that long layoff in between games? It was nice to get the bodies ready, but it's been a long time since they hit somebody. How do you feel like they've kind of balanced those two things?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? On one end, they have a lot of guys that were dinged up and dealing with injuries that they got to rest and are available for this game, right? But then the guys that were playing, they kind of hit a groove, right? The team had been hot of late, especially at home. And when you're hot, you don't want to take any time off. You want to keep rolling. You just worry about who you play next, right? But in the sport of football, that first round bye is almost like a golden ticket, right? The last, I believe, 12 of 13 teams to reach the Grey Cup final have had that first round bye. So it tells you a lot, and the stats go a long way, but that stat was very telling for me that, teams that do get that rest, especially late in the season, they do fare off better. And it also says that you had a great season, right? To get that first round bye, you've obviously had to win a certain amount of games. In the Argos case, 9 games. And it tells me that they took care of business during the season. They earned that bye. And, they're excited. No team, I tell you what, no team, especially this time of year, will ever say no to a week off. So the guys are ready and hungry to get after it.
Especially when the paycheck still comes at the end of the week, right? When you talk about this Argos team having that
they
time,
call that bye week the 2-check.
Yeah, listen. I work with enough former players to know that check during the bye week is definitely a good one. Looking at the Argos, they won the last 3 against the Ticats in the regular season. They dropped the first one in the Labor Day, but then they figured out they won 3. So do the Argonauts have the Ticats figured out, do you think?
That's a tough one because, for the Ticats, 3 losses against the Argos, they're without Brendan Addison and without Don Jackson. And to me, those are the 2 X factors in this Hamilton Ticat team. And especially Brendan Addison. And to me, he's probably the best receiver on the Ticats. Just talking about the things that he can do. He can line up in the backfield. He can go over the middle, make contested catches. He can run double moves. He can literally do everything you want a receiver to do, and he's tough as nails, right? That's a guy that, for the Ticats, I think kind of is like their engine that gets them going, that slots guys in the right spots, that gives Masoli confidence. And then Don Jackson, he's an explosive playmaker, right? You put the ball in his hands, he can go for 30, 40, 50 yards at any time. And that's kind of the explosiveness that this Ticats offense was missing when they're losing some games, because it's tough to dink and dunk down the field, right? And when you're able to get explosive plays like Don Jackson has brought, whether it's catching the ball, screen passes, or running the ball, it makes life a lot easier for an offensive coordinator and for your quarterback. So I wouldn't say the Argos have figured out them yet because they haven't played them lately, and that's going to present a new challenge, especially if Brendan Addison does play. But they're well aware of the challenges those guys bring, and it's going to be a different game because the Argos have guys that are coming off injury as well, like Eric Rodgers, and Juwan Breskinson that they haven't seen, right? So it's going to be an interesting chess match, and I'm excited, but I wouldn't say the Argos have figured out the Ticats yet, because this is a whole new group coming, especially on the offensive side.
You mentioned Eric Rodgers and you mentioned X Factor, because when I'm looking at this Argos team and a guy who can really go off, McLeod Bethel-Thompson has got to be excited about the fact that Breskinson's back, Eric Rodgers is back. McLeod Bethel-Thompson has played in big games before. How does he kind of take that next step and actually kind of win kind of the next big one?
Yeah, how he takes the next step is continue to be who he is. Like the last 4 or 5 games, I think the Argos have really simplified things for him. using the running backs. I mean, when John White and DJ Foster were healthy, using them in the passing game, having them both in the game and kind of confusing the defenses. Short passes, the RPO game was really good to him, right? Quick reads where you're not having to hold the ball for a long period of time and, risk getting sacked or a turnover. So I think what the thing that's happened with McLeod Thompson being in the lineup longer is giving Coach Dinwiddie a longer time to figure out like the things that he's good at, the thing that he excels at, and being able to put that in play. And I think, this is playoff football time, right? The Argos are leaning on their defense a little bit more. He's understanding that, hey, I don't have to force the ball because we do have a great defense, right? We do have a good running game. I can kind of let, not so much a game manager, but just don't feel like the game is all on him. So that's how he can take the next step. Continue to, live within the game plan, live within the calls, and live to play another down, right? It's playoff football. Turnovers are magnified, right? Cannot have those. Trust your playmakers. Like you said, Eric Rodgers is back. He not only helps the passing game, like when you're a quarterback and you got a 6'5" guy with long arms, like it gives you comfort because even when he's covered, you still feel comfortable throwing to him because he knows he can make those contested catches. So that's an important factor. And then in the running game, Eric Rodgers is one of the best receiving receivers, best blocking receivers out there.
Yeah.
He helps in the blocking game and then the screen pass game too. So that's a huge, huge help, especially, with Juwan Bresson back too. 2 6'5" guys out there blocking for receiver screens. Like, good luck trying to get around those, right? So huge opportunity for those guys coming back.
And I mean, big bodies, like you said, 6'5", and I mean, this specifically in terms of the catch radius and what they're able to do, and being able to correct for little mistakes that McLeod Bethel Thompson makes, and how important is that to have guys who have those huge wingspans who can go out and make that extra step? Because McLeod Bethel Thompson, like you said, he is I don't want to say inexperienced. He's been in the league a long time, but he is prone to sometimes overthrow, get a little anxious. And it seems like having two receivers like that who can go up and get it just about anywhere will work really well in his favor.
Absolutely. It's massive, man. It's massive. Just mentally, too, just knowing that you're throwing to guys that are big. But, in a receiving core, you always want guys like a receiving core that's well-versed, right? It's almost you want to build like a basketball team. You want your point guards, your small, little, quick guys. You want, your two guys can do a little bit of everything. But you want those forwards. Like, you see the way the game's going now. You want those forwards, the big guys, because those guys, can really change the game when things get murky, things get, tough, things get, hard. They literally can be covered, but just from sheer size, right, still be able to go up and make a big play. I remember playing quarterback in high school and, having taller receivers. When things got tough, I would try to go to those guys, right, because I knew no matter what, they would find a way to make things happen. So from a mental standpoint, that's huge for a guy like McLeod Thompson. And you're like you said, he's played in some big games, but none bigger than this, right? Like, he's been in the league a long time. This is probably going to be the biggest game he's going to play, and he's a confident guy. But until you get in a situation like a game like this, the East Final, where you're the guy, you don't know how you're going to react. So having guys like that you can trust, ease the mental burden, will help a tremendous amount.
Chris Jones has obviously, put his hands all over this defense. It's not just his fingerprints. This is Chris Jones's defense. And to be able to do it without a preseason, 6 games into a season, in a system that was already in place. I know it's Chris Jones. We know his resume, but it's still pretty impressive. What have you seen from the defense since Jones has been here? And how have you seen it kind of continue to develop under him?
You know what? I think it was really seamless transition, because a lot of guys that the Argos had were already in that Chris Jones mold. Like, you think about Chris Edwards, fast, aggressive, big defender. Dexter McCoyle, tall, rangy, can play multiple spots, good blitzer. Sean Oakman in the middle, think about Willie Jefferson, tall, long, aggressive, right? A lot of Enoch Mwamba, you can go down the list. A lot of the players that are on this Argos roster, right, were already in that Chris Jones mold. So it wasn't a hard transition for him to get these guys on board. And the kind of defense Chris Jones plays, it's an aggressive defense, right? Defenders want to be that. They're like that by nature. They want to be aggressive. They want to be getting after the quarterback, right? They want to be sitting back in zone. And you tell the defense, hey, I get to do what I love to do and get after the quarterback, create turnovers, create big plays. Where do I sign up, right? So these guys, it's a testament to obviously Chris Jones' style, but, the Argos, front office already having those guys in place that, kind of, play his style. And then it was really a seamless transition. And you see these guys just continue to do what they were doing beforehand. I mean, before Chris Jones got here, this was one of the top defenses in especially stopping the run, right? So they've continued to do that. They've just been a little bit more aggressive. And the guys are happy. I mean, it's like you tell like a bunch of dogs, go attack things. They're happy. That's what they want to do, right? And that's basically what he's telling these guys. Obviously stay disciplined, but be yourselves and go attack. And he's done that really well. And the guys are happy playing that style.
So Natey, obviously this is the 5th time these teams have played each other, and we've seen some bad blood boil over, before. And it's not, just this season. This is a rivalry. This is a historic rivalry. The Ticats, Argos. There's bad blood, and emotions are going to be flying high. How do you control those emotions? Because the last thing you want is a penalty that's going to cost your team, that's going to put you in bad field position. So what's the messaging, and how do you control your emotions in a game like this?
It's really tough because, with games like this, do or die kind of games, emotions run really high, especially in football. Emotions run high in general because you got to get up to play this game, right? It's a physical game. But in the game, do or die, right, guys are going 100% every single play. Emotions are going to be, double what they usually are, right? And I always think about it like this. If guys have to stay true to who they are, right? If you're a talker, you're Smalley Lawrence or, the guy you guys made fun of a bunch of times last week, Patrick Levels, just do what you normally do because that's way more authentic. We know we haven't started talking, right? Just be who you are, who you've always been. Understand that in this game, the guys that talk a lot are going to get you to get out of your game. They're going to get you to talk. They're going to get you to do something out of character. You can't fall into that trap. And it's so easy to do it because you're feeling a lot more than you've ever felt. But you've got to understand that there's something bigger at play than what you're feeling in that moment. You've almost got to put team above self a lot more in this game. And it's got to be a message that is talked about throughout the week, right? The leaders, veteran leaders, coaches can say it, right? Guys, whatever, guys will listen to coaches, but it has to be the leaders on the team that repeat that message over and over and over. And it's got to be practiced, right? It's got to be practiced, especially throughout the game. You see somebody getting out of hand, grab them real quick, get back to the huddle, next play. Always think about next play. Forget that last play. Stay on point, right? Aggressive guy like on the Argos, Chris Edwards, he loves to get into it. Stay the same way, but just understand there's a line. You get close to it, but don't cross it, right? So that's how I approach it.
All right, the Argos will be going to the 108th Grey Cup if – finish that sentence.
There's a lot of things that they need to do, but they need – if Brillen Addison and Don Jackson play, they need to limit those guys. Those guys, to me, are very extremely dangerous players. And the Argos haven't seen them both this year. They have to limit them. They have to have a game plan for them because those guys are game breakers.
All right, and say it seems like every day I see a text or a tweet from Hoagie that says more tickets have been released for this game at BMO Field. More tickets have been released, and it's going to be the best crowd of the season at BMO Field. We know a lot of Ticats fans are going to be there. So how important is it going to be for the Argos to keep the Argos fans loud and the Ticats fans quiet?
It's going to be really important, especially in a game like this when the margins are so thin. These two teams know each other really well. This is the 5th matchup of the year, right? So it's going to take little things, and the crowd can add that little extra boost the guys need, right, to get over the edge. I know for me personally, whenever there's a big crowd, I'd always want to, be the reason why they made noise, be the reason why, they were cheering. And if I did make a play, hearing that boost just made me want to do more, right? So all these players are going to be feeling that, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Like I said, it's going to be a really tight game, a lot on the line. The crowd can be that little extra boost the guys need to get over that hump.
Should be a great one. Natey, enjoy it. Have a great call. And, hopefully, I don't know how to phrase this. Hopefully we won't see you at the Grey Cup. But,
No, I'll be at the Grey Cup.
All right.
Regardless.
Okay. Well, we'll see you there regardless. Looking forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
All right, Louie. Great talking to you, man. It's been fun. I know you guys call me the enemy, but we've spoken, I think, 5 times this year. I think we call each other friends now, right?
All right. Next season, we'll rename it Speaking with Our Friend.
Yes.
But for now, it's Speaking with the Enemy. He's Natey Adjei. I'm Louie B. Make sure to join us on Sunday when we talk with Mike Hogan on a brand new episode of Speaking with the Enemy.
Speaking with the Enemy. Dropping twice weekly before every Ticats game. Like and subscribe to get inside the enemy's head.